Hey, it's Steve Kyler and Lang Greene with HOOPSWORLD TV. Now, Lang, you're in the dirty. Atlanta's home for you. Well, at least makeshift home for you. And this new look Hawks team, you've been around these guys. You know, everybody's talking about Atlanta as maybe taking a step back. As you've been around these guys, are they buying into the idea that this team is not as good as maybe last year's team?
Well, basically, it's just a tale of who you speak with. When you talk to the front office, those guys are really playing it real close to the vest. They're basically saying, they're just expect the team to compete every night, every time they go out there on the court.
So basically they're saying, yeah, we're not as good.
Right. But when you talk to the players, when you talk to the Al Horfords and you talk to the Josh Smiths and the Jeff Teagues, there's no doubt in my mind that those guys really feel that they are among the top 8 teams in the Eastern Conference without Joe Johnson even.
You know, the 800-pound gorilla in the room for the Hawks this year is going to be the status of Josh Smith. And obviously everybody that knows understands you don't sign contract extensions anymore. You wait, especially if you're healthy at the top of your game, you wait, you get to free agency so you can sign that 5-year, $100 million deal. Now, Josh never got that big payday. Remember, he was a restricted free agent. The Memphis Grizzlies gave him the deal he's working on in Atlanta, just matched it. So he's really been one of the lower paid kind of borderline all-star type guys. So it's his time to get paid. But how are the Hawks, and more importantly, how is Josh Smith kind of handling this uncertainty of his contract situation and really kind of all of these questions that are starting to surround him?
Well, I'll tell you what, just speaking with the guys around Josh Smith, his teammates, they marvel at the fact that how he, coming to camp now 2 years straight in great shape. Remember last year he came in with a trade demand, but he still came in the best shape, since entering the league. Same thing this year. It was around the media day. He looks in phenomenal condition. He understands that he's going to get the conversation, daily, wherever he's at, on the road, at home, what's going on with his contract. However, I really feel mentally he's in a real good spot. He really, he has, guys like Anthony Moreau, Lou Williams, guys that he, really knows that have, that Atlanta roots, so to speak. I think he's in a very comfortable spot, Steve, and I think he's, going to be definitely able to handle the wide range of, questioning that he will get on a nightly basis.
You mean the circus. Trust me, I went through Dwight Howard. It's going to get stupid before it gets done. For this Hawks team, obviously, they're counting on some guys to kind of step into that next role. You've heard Danny Ferry talk about, Josh Smith as an all-star and, Al Horford healthy as one of the best big men in the Eastern Conference, if not the NBA. But for me, I kind of look at it and I say, look, Lou Williams is going to be great for that team. And there's some young guys. John Jenkins, the rookie, looks great. For me, I think this team and where this team goes kind of hinges on Jeff Teague. You're around Jeff a lot. Is he ready to make that leap into what I'll call prime-time point guard?
Tell you, I've been around Jeff Teague, basically since he's been in the league. And one thing I will say, Steve, is, just being around him, you can really tell that his confidence level is very, very high. Last season was his first full year as a starting point guard. He played extremely well with the ball in his hands, and I'm telling you, that did a world of good for his confidence. Just being around him, the way he talks, I don't see any, issue on why he wouldn't be able to, get in guys' faces, tell them where to go on the offensive end, and really be that floor general that head coach Larry Drew is looking for. I expect big things out of Jeff Teague this year, and I expect his name to be in the most improved player discussion once the regular season concludes, barring injury.
Now, the big question is, how far back do the Hawks go? They were a team that was kind of that borderline home court playoff. They were one of the top 4. I think it's safe to say, if healthy, they're probably still in the top 8. But how far do they drop, Lang? Do they become now the discussion of 6-7? Are they 6-5? Where do you see this Hawks team in the big scheme of the Eastern Conference with the big if out of the way, if they can stay healthy?
I'll tell you what, the pulse around Atlanta, Steve, is really, very, 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 excited in terms of from the fan base, even without Joe Johnson. And to me, a lot of the, projections for the team is a little irrational. You lose a guy like Joe Johnson, a 6-time All-Star, you're not going to be better in year one. I really feel that the Hawks are, toward that latter half of the Eastern Conference this year, that 6-7 seed slot, if everything goes right. they have two bona fide all-star caliber talents in Al Horford and Josh Smith. They're legit. You can't question their talent. Jeff Teague is on the rise. They brought in a outstanding group of elite shooters. However, the big question around this team, Steve, is will they be able to defend? Horford and Smith are undersized relative for their positions. Jeff Teague is undersized. Lou Williams is undersized. And they really have some holes on the perimeter wing without Marvin Williams and Joe Johnson, who are two of the league's longer length defenders. But they're still going to be in the top 8. I would say right around that 6-7 slot if everything goes well.
Good news is Dwight Howard did go west to the Lakers, so you don't got to deal with that anymore. But anyway, He's Lang Greene. I'm Steve Kyler. This is Hoops World TV.